How's it going, everybody? Tom here with Keto Lifestyle, and today we are going to be taking video number 2 of the Keto for Beginners series. Now this video is going to be all about macros, what you need to know, how to find yours, everything like that. Now the first thing I want you to realize is that anybody who tells you that there's a perfect number, you won't need to experiment, that they can just tell you exactly what to do, is full of it, and don't listen to them. Finding your macros is a very, very long and experimental process, and they're going to change on you as you lose weight, gain weight, or whatever your goals may be. Now for me, I know my body, so we can use my macros, but I'm going to show you kind of to get an idea of where to start in terms of calories, and then we can break down the macros from there. Now the first thing to think about is there's a metric called your total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE for short. I like to use that as a calculator to kind of give me an idea of how many calories my body is burning per day. And if you're trying to lose weight, you want to come down a little bit from that. If you're trying to gain weight, you want to come up a little bit from that. Me personally, those calculators show that I'm around 2,300 calorie maintenance, and I try to eat about 1,900 calories a day because I'm currently cutting. Now I will link a TDEE calculator in the description, and I'm going to go ahead and just show you what it comes out for me right now. What's going on, everybody? We are inside my computer now, and I do apologize if I sound bad in this video. I'm actually getting over an upper respiratory infection, and I also have asthma on top of that, which is actually kind of making this a little hard to do. But hey, the show must go on. Anyway, I'm sitting here on bodybuilding.com, which is one of my preferred TDE calculators. So we're going to go ahead and fill this out. So I am 23 years old. I am a male. I am 6 foot 4 inches. And I currently weigh 223 pounds. Now the activity level here is going to kind of be dependent on you. I actually am going to put lightly active because I do work out 4 days a week for about an hour and a half a day. But I work a very sedentary job. I write software, so I'm in a desk 10 plus hours a day. Now we're going to go and hit calculate. And that comes out to 2,319 calories for me. Now, obviously, I'm losing weight, and this would be what I wanted to eat if I wanted to maintain. So I'm going to go ahead and eat less than that. This may not be perfect, and it's kind of just a ballpark. What you're really going to want to do is eat these calories and see if you gain weight or lose weight, and then kind of adjust them from there. It is a process, but trust me, you can do it. Now for the reason you came to this video is probably like your keto macros. You know, do you want to do 75% fat, 5% carb, 20% protein? Do you want higher fats, lower fats, higher proteins, lower proteins? And unfortunately, like with everything else when it comes to macros, that just comes down to your body. For me, I operate on a much better on a higher fat, lower protein range. I operate best around 80% fat, and I try to keep my carbs as low as possible. I try to stay under about 20 net carbs a day and under 30 total carbs a day. Sometimes I will go over, but that's kind of where I like to hang out, and that puts my protein right around 15%. Now that might seem low to you, but there are people in this world who have built a lot of muscle on less protein. One of them I can link down below. His name's Keto Savage, and he is a professional bodybuilder, and he was down to, I think he even said like in the 70 grams of protein in a day range when he was cutting for a competition. So don't let people freak you out about going too low on your protein. In fact, don't let them freak you out about going too high either. There is a thing called gluconeogenesis, which can basically turn excess protein into sugars, but you have to go really high on your protein for that, and to be honest, it's not something that I see a lot of unless you're doing a ridiculous amount of calories. So keep that in mind if you're trying to do, 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, but I wouldn't really recommend that. So a good starting place is actually 75% fat, 5% carb, 20% protein. That'll get you kind of where you want to go. So how do you calculate this in terms of you have your calories, you have your 3 macronutrients, which, just a side note, there are actually 4 macronutrients, but we're going to only focus on 3 of them right here. Now those macronutrients are fats, carbs, and proteins, and that 4th one is actually alcohol, but for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and assume you're not drinking. So fats are 9 calories per gram, carbs and proteins are 4 calories a gram, and alcohol is 7 calories a gram, if you were just curious. So what you need to do is you need to take your total calories that you're going to consume in a day. So for me, that's 1,900. And I'm going to go ahead and divide that, or multiply that, by 0.8. That'll give me my 80% fat. And I'm going to go ahead and put that number right over here. So what that actually means is I need around 1,520 calories a day from fat. Now we're going to go ahead and divide that by the 9 calories per gram, and that will give you the number of grams you need. So for me, that comes out to about 169 grams. We'll go ahead and do the rest of the macros, but I'm sure you're figuring it out at this point. So for me, my protein, I like around 15%. So I'm going to go ahead and take my total 1,900 calories a day and multiply it times 0.15, which comes out to this. So obviously, I want 285 calories a day from protein. We're going to go ahead and divide that by 4, which gives me around 72 grams of protein a day. Now, I do sometimes go over that. I usually actually aim for around 80, which puts me just over 15%, 16% in that range. But I do try to keep the same calories. So what that means is I'm actually bringing my carbs down from what I allot myself. And this is going to be the same process for carbs. So you're going to go take that 1900 times 0.05, which for me comes out to about 95 calories. Now you divide that by 4, and that comes out to around 23, 24 grams of carbs. Now, again, I count net carbs, some people count total carbs, but for me, I want to keep around 20 net carbs and 30 total carbs a day. That's just what I have found works for me. But you see how these macros kind of give me an estimate, but I have personally experienced other things. So that's kind of what you need to realize here, is that everybody can give you an idea of where to start, but really honing it in and figuring out what works for you comes from you. It's just experience, and you will get there. Now, I don't want to make this process sound too confusing, because it might take you, a week. So start somewhere, weigh yourself every day throughout the week, and then if you gain weight next week and you've been strict on your diet, if you haven't been strict on your diet, do not adjust your macros. But if you've been strict on your diet and you put on a little bit of weight the following week, maybe tone down the calories a little bit and recalculate your macros accordingly. If you have been strict on your diet and you lost weight, great. I like to aim for about 1% to 1.5% of my total body weight per week, because you don't want to go overboard on the weight loss. It can cause all sorts of medical issues. Now, once you're losing weight, you might notice at some point that you just stop losing weight. We call this a plateau. Now, there are a lot of reasons that your body may stop losing weight, which is why I really don't recommend messing with your macros until it's been about 2 weeks of consistent weight stabilization. Now, that's kind of hard to tell, but you want to be strict in your diet, and if you haven't been strict, don't adjust your macros. But if you have been and you haven't lost any weight in 2 weeks, I'd recommend dropping your calories by about 100 and then recalculating your macros and trying that for a week or two. If you lose weight again, you're perfect. If you're still not losing weight, drop them by another 100. Now, I would really never recommend for most people going below like a 600 or 700 calorie deficit. It's not that big of a deal, but like for me, I really would never want to go below about 1500 calories a day, which is actually about 800 calories deficit for me. Everybody's going to be different here, so you really just have to keep that in mind, that when it comes to macros, no one thing is right, and everybody's body is different. But I think this will give you a good start. If you start off with 75% fat, 5% carbs, and 20% protein, you'll be on a good path. Just go ahead and adjust it as you need it, and just keep stepping on the scale. Personally, I weigh myself every day, and if I find that I weigh myself every day and one day next week I am lower than my lowest day of the week before, I've lost weight. So say my lowest weight of this week is like 223 pounds, which is actually accurate. And then next week, Thursday, I weigh in at 222. Then I consider myself having lost weight. Even if Friday I weigh in at like 224, 225, if I have hit a lower weigh-in than I did the week before, I consider myself having lost weight and I'm good to go. And this is why I'm a huge advocate of weighing yourself every day, because things can happen. You could, eat something very, very high in sodium and retain more water. You could eat later in the day. There are a lot of factors that can affect your weight. So weighing yourself daily really kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. If you have not subscribed yet, please feel free to do so. It really does help me out a lot. And if you want to leave this video a like, that's great. If you have any questions, comments on the video, go ahead and leave them in the comment section and I will get back to you guys. And with that, I will talk to you guys later.